How you guys doing? Many of you don't know me, but my name is Steve. I'm a close friend to Paula. She asked me to do a video on coping skills. So today I'm just gonna touch base on some of the basics of coping skills. One of the things that we should know is that a coping skill is used to handle a stressful situation. So something that we deal with either on a regular, something that pops up, but we use coping skills kind of to deter us from acting out. As children, we notice that when kids don't get the candy they want or some of the things they want, they cry, they shout, they get very upset. As adults, we don't always get away with that. So as we get older, we develop coping skills to deal with stressful situations or tough situations that we can't deal with. Some of the coping skills that we use are very appropriate, but as we become more mature, we realize that we deal with more difficult situations because we have bigger responsibilities and our coping skills have to get better. So for instance, when I was a kid, a coping skill that I may have had was to listen to music. As I got a little bit older, I realized when my boss yells at me, I can't just turn on music and smile in my boss's face, put my headphones on and smile and be happy. So some of the things I have to use is taking space, whether that's, hey, can I come back to this situation and deal with it at another time? Or just taking a couple steps back and thinking about what your boss is saying. Why are they saying it to you? There's different ways to take space. But when I was a little kid, taking space for me might have looked like going in my room and closing the door. Now as an adult, I can take space in the current situation because my coping skills are better. We all have many coping skills that we can reach into our bag and grab. Some of us want to focus on the same coping skills over and over again. But like I said, if you use the same coping skill over and over again, it doesn't work for every situation. Some people, like my good friend Paula, she likes to run. Her coping skill is running. But given a stressful situation, she doesn't always get to do that. So if she has a bad phone call, she can get off the phone, take care of her dog, go on a jog to release some stress, then come back to that situation. If she's having an interaction that is face-to-face with a difficult patient, she doesn't just get to go off and run off the unit and take a quick brisk jog and come back 10 minutes later and deal with that patient. So like I said, you have to have many coping skills to use in difficult situations because you have to find the coping skill that's appropriate for what you're dealing with. A lot of good coping skills that people like to use are to read, take space, self-talk. Like I said, exercise is a good one. It takes your mind off things. But one of the things that we have to realize with our coping skills is it's very important that we come back and handle the situation. It's usually we're using coping skills to calm ourselves down so we can think more clearly. But a lot of times when we're using bad coping skills, it enables us to relax, get away from the situation, and sometimes not come back. A perfect example of that is drinking. When you become an adult and you're over the age of 21, you can drink. For some of us, you have a bad day at work, you go and drink. You have a good day at work, you go and drink. You get a raise, you go and drink. You're using some type of coping skill. But drinking is a perfect example of a coping skill that can be used in a positive manner, but if overdone, it can cause many issues. So one of the things that I always say is, don't rely on the same coping skill. If you drink and then it relieves your stress, that's temporary. That's why I don't say use drinking as a coping skill for most people, because it's a temporary release from the stress that you're dealing with. Are you able to come back and deal with that situation later? A lot of people will drink and continue to drink, and then they forget the problem, and tomorrow you got to wake up and deal with that problem again. So do you get to go drink again, or should you use a more appropriate coping skill? A coping skill that most people should develop is talking to others. Go find somebody that's outside of the situation that you're dealing with and go speak with that person about the situation. Somebody who's going to give you their open and honest opinion. They're going to say, hey, Steve, you're wrong. You should look at it this way. Or, hey, Steve, you're right. But if you explain it to this person like this, it'll go a lot better. A lot of us use taking